quarter for Meta, or the doubling down from Zuckerberg on data center hardware at a time when there are questions about whether big tech is going to pull back. What do you think?
Yeah, I think what you heard from Zuckerberg, I mean, those are CapEx words that are going to be heard around the world and especially around the street, because it just speaks to the worry that you're going to see big tech pull back. They're doubling down. And I think you'll hear the same from Nadella on the call as well. And this is just so important and crucial. I think crucial to the whole tech trade, because that's where the spend. The AI revolution is not getting slowed down because of tariffs. And I think big tech is fueling that. And you look at these numbers. Look, I mean, this is a home run quarter across the board for big tech. Aaron Judge-like quarter, I think, what we saw from Meta as well as Microsoft.
Now, we still got to get, Amazon and some others. We're going to hear from Apple soon as well. But on these cloud players that we're hearing from so far, is there enough confidence, despite the uncertainties that even Meta referred to on the regulatory front, and, of course, on the tariff front, that you think are going to give investors some confidence that, wow, if these big spenders continue to be confident, maybe I can too?
Yeah, John, that's a great set. I think the tech trade changes after these results, because as an investor, the thing that I've heard over the last 3-4 weeks is, are they going to pull back? Can I have confidence in numbers second half? And you look at what we're seeing from the hyperscalers, and we've talked about in our checks, in some ways there's actually an acceleration. And you could just say more and more resilient. It just shows enterprises are going full steam ahead because you don't want to lose your spot in line. Bullish for when it comes to Google, and obviously we saw GCP. Obviously what we're seeing with Azure, the 200-bit beep, and I think many thought that they were actually going to miss. And this is obviously a huge barometer going into Amazon, where I think you're going to have strong AWS numbers tomorrow. That is, if you're a bull, you just checked every box here in terms of what you're seeing. You'll see some caution, regulatory, of course, but relative to this Category 5 storm that we've seen, software, big tech, really holding up.
Investing in artificial intelligence, AI, is a prominent trend in the market. Even though some AI hyperscalers have had some success implementing AI models, they haven't yet made a significant profit from it. Consequently, I believe that investors would be better off purchasing stock in the businesses that profit from this expenditure. Because of this, stock in firms like NVIDIA is a great investment right now, and with a little bit of June left, I believe it's one of the best AI stocks to purchase. An old proverb states that although history doesn't repeat itself, it frequently rhymes. It is simple to draw a comparison between the AI arms race and the gold rush when this wisdom is applied. Few prospectors struck gold and became wealthy during the gold rush, while many others lost everything. Those who sold shovels and pickaxes to the prospectors, on the other hand, profited greatly. This leads to the investment adage, picks and shovels, which sums NVIDIA quite well. Graphics processing units, GPUs manufactured by NVIDIA, are excellent at handling workloads needing a significant amount of processing power. The ability to perform many calculations in parallel sets a GPU apart from a conventional CPU. AI hyperscalers can generate astounding computational capacity for training and executing AI models by combining this feature with the capability of connecting hundreds of GPUs in clusters. According to most estimations, NVIDIA holds a 90% or larger market share in the data center GPU arena, demonstrating its firm hold on the market. This dominance has allowed NVIDIA's stock to prosper, as its revenue has dramatically risen since the start of 2023. NVIDIA is still expanding. In Q1, its sales grew by 69%, and in Q2, it anticipates a 50% increase. It should come as no surprise that there is still a lot of potential available, given that NVIDIA's clients have announced record data center expenditure for this year. Because of this, I believe it remains one of the top AI stocks to own in the future. So, what implications does this have for NVIDIA's stock? Let's explore that. But first, a big thank you to those of you who've stuck with us this far. Creating these videos takes significant effort and dedication, so if you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts on NVIDIA stock in the comments. Your support truly helps us grow. Now, let's get back to the video.
Of Ritholtz Wealth Management. He's owned shares for as long as I can remember. Stephanie Link of Hightower with us today, too. Steph and Josh, CNBC contributors. All right, Josh, you get the first word because you're my guy on NVIDIA. What do people need to know here?
I think the most interesting thing here is that despite the fact that this market cap has grown to the size that it has, the volatility is still with us. That's usually not the case. Usually as companies become larger, we expect a maturation in their business, and as a result, we're less jumpy about the stock price from day to day. NVIDIA is just a different thing entirely. It's its own self-contained casino in the stock and options market, and this report is no different. NVIDIA is expected to move plus or minus 11% in reaction to the earnings tonight. For the last 8 quarters, the average implied move post-earnings was plus or minus 12%. So the game is still the game. That's the first thing I would tell you. The second thing, expected earnings per share of 65 cents, just to set the table. That's 138% year-over-year gain on revenue of $28.7 billion, which is a 113% gain. If you look at the last reactions to earnings from 2023 through today, reactions were plus 14%, plus 24%. Then we had a flat. Then we had a minus 2%, which is inconceivable, but it happened. Then we had a plus 16, and then we had a 0. So really, the average reaction through last quarter, throughout 2023 and 24, is plus 10%. But as I've shown you, those results have really been sort of all over the map. We haven't had the big down reaction. That's the one thing we haven't seen yet since the NVIDIA era began. I'm not suggesting tonight will be the start. Just keep in mind, it is in the realm of possibilities, even though we haven't seen it in this time frame.
All right, so Stacey, all eyes on guidance, obviously, as it always is. So near 32 billion, near 32 billion in revenues is the guide, the expected guide. How much above that is needed to get what Josh would call a big plus reaction out of the stock?
Yeah. I think the buy side whispers are closer to 33, 34 billion, which would probably imply a 30 billion plus implied data center guide. If you figure the other businesses are a few $billion. So they had guided 28 billion for this quarter. The street's a little higher than that. They're 28.7 or 28.8. Street's around 31 and 31.8 something, close to 32 for next quarter. Buy side's probably looking 33 to 34.
Are you optimistic they're going to get to that?
Yeah, so this is the interesting thing, right? So everybody's been wondering what the Blackwell delays might mean for any of this. And I actually think for Q3, it's probably not much of an issue. There wasn't ever going to be a ton of Blackwell revenues in Q3 anyways. And they're not going to guide to Q4 and beyond. Maybe we'll get some color on that. I think there's still a ton of demand. They're still shipping everything that they can sell. I think that they've been able to backfill some of those, and it's a minor delay with Blackwell, but they've been able to backfill, I think, most, if not all of it with Hopper, H200 and the like. I think revenues probably should be fine. I think more around commentary, what does this delay actually mean, if anything, as we go into the end of the year and the beginning of next year, as Blackwell was supposed to ramp? Are there any changes to the roadmap that might influence like that trajectory? What does it mean for gross margins? You know, if as they're maybe shifting the roadmap around. That's more qualitative commentary that we may get that may be important and may move the stock one way or the other. But like the revenue numbers,
In 3 days, NVIDIA will have its 2025 shareholder meeting. Is it wise to purchase NVIDIA stock before June 25th? No, not because of the meeting. However, it doesn't imply it's a bad idea to buy shares of the graphics processing unit, GPU manufacturer, in the coming days. Large stock market catalysts can be produced by certain corporate events. One clear example is the publication of quarterly earnings. Another is the announcement of major products. Annual meeting of shareholders? Not at all. There are further reasons, though, why you would want to purchase NVIDIA stock as soon as possible. This week's annual shareholder meeting for NVIDIA is likely to be largely dull. The election of the board of directors is the first item on the agenda. The slate of filmmakers that have been nominated should be certain until something genuinely unexpected occurs. The next step is the advisory approval vote for executive remuneration, or say on pay. This gives shareholders a chance to express whether they agree or disagree with NVIDIA's CEO compensation plan for the upcoming year. The board of directors is not bound by the vote, though. I doubt that some investors will be excited by NVIDIA's choice of PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP as its independent accounting firm. It's the next item on the agenda anyway. A non-binding proposal asking the board to remove supermajority voting clauses from NVIDIA's charter and bylaws was accepted by shareholders at the company's annual meeting last year. Following deliberation, the board recommended modifying those documents. Consequently, the removal of the supermajority voting clauses will be put to a formal vote at the next meeting and, paradoxically, will need a supermajority vote of 66.23% of shareholders to take effect. Similarly, this year's agenda includes 3 stockholder proposals. Remove the need for a 1-year holding period before calling a special meeting of stockholders. Ask for a new resignation policy for directors to be adopted by the board. Ask NVIDIA to improve its public reporting by adding a chart that breaks down the 9 job categories outlined by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC, by race and gender. The board of NVIDIA advised shareholders to vote against these plans. However, none of the proposals would impact the stock even if they were accepted. Although I wouldn't bet on it, there's a chance that something intriguing will come up during the Other Matters portion of the company's annual shareholder meeting. To stay informed about the latest developments from NVIDIA and the ever-changing stock market, consider subscribing to our investing tutorial channel. We provide daily updates on significant market shifts and key catalysts, so hit that subscribe button to ensure you never miss crucial information. We'd love to hear your thoughts on NVIDIA stock, so please share your opinions in the comments below. Now let's dive into today's video.
As a record fundraising round, we know there was a lot attached to this fundraising round, including a promise of a conversion to a for-profit entity. Why did you feel it was compelling to invest now and at this valuation?
Well, we've been doing work on AI for 10 years, and we've been waiting for the companies that were really that NVIDIA was going to hand the baton to. Not that NVIDIA's story is over at all, but as you know, NVIDIA has basically been communicating, and investors have been buying a very big idea. And for NVIDIA to continue to work, we think there are going to be other winners. We think that the foundation model players are going to be very big winners, $15 to $20 trillion in market cap in the next 5 to 10 years. We put out a piece in our Sunday newsletter you can find on arc-invest.com, and we're going to put out a lot more on this. So OpenAI leading the charge, really, Anthropic, xAI, so Elon Musk and team, and even Elon, I think, is saying those three, and Google with Gemini are the big four. And, you know, unlike the railroad era, and many people are comparing this to the railroad era, I think that the 4 winners are showing themselves very quickly. Whereas in the railroad era, which, by the way, accounted for 63% of the stock market in its heyday in the early 1900s, unlike the railroads, there were hundreds. I think there were hundreds. We can focus on the big winners. This space is moving so quickly and is going to become so big because it's effectively substituting software for labor. Not that this is going to kill jobs at all. It's going to make people much more productive. And they're already seeing it with ChatGPT just as a starter.
And of course, the 4 companies you just mentioned are all companies that you are invested in through your funds. I mean, you mentioned xAI. It's been interesting because Elon Musk, co-founder of OpenAI, has been very vocal, very critical of where OpenAI is headed and the direction in which Sam Altman is taking it. Do you disagree?
I think what he's talking about is more about the history of the company, and we're looking at the future. And I was happy to hear that he did mention, of course, OpenAI as one of the leaders. Of course it is. So, you know, we're just looking to the future. I know there's a history there, and, you know, what's done is done, and we're just looking forward, trying to figure out who are going to be the big winners in.
You'll likely have to wait a little longer if you're hoping for a catalyst for NVIDIA stock. On August 27, 2025, the firm will release its fiscal year 2026 second quarter results, which is the next planned event that could lead to an increase in shares. It's possible, though, that this Q2 upgrade won't have a significant impact. For NVIDIA to have a big impact on the price, it would have to surpass earnings projections or disclose something else really encouraging. Purchasing NVIDIA stock before June 25th is still a good idea, even though the company's annual shareholder meeting is probably going to be a huge nothing burger. In fact, it might be a wise choice for long-term investors. Artificial intelligence, AI adoption, is still in its infancy, in my opinion, and NVIDIA may benefit greatly from the emergence of AI agents. The development of artificial general intelligence, AGI, may also advance. Even if I can see a time when NVIDIA isn't leading the AI chip industry, I believe it's far more likely that the business will continue to play a significant role. The finest AI processor on the market is NVIDIA's Blackwell GPU. NVIDIA's annual product roadmap should help them stay ahead of the competition. Indeed, One of the most common reasons not to purchase the stock is its pricing. I've asked the same thing before. But if the AI business develops as I believe it will, NVIDIA's expansion will make its current price point justified. If they don't purchase the stock by June 25th, investors won't pass up the chance. There's never a better moment to believe in NVIDIA's promise, though. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.